Your path led to the sea. You wade through the mighty waters, though your footprints were not seen. The propeller ceased its whirling turns. The ship stopped now on the quiet blaze. The flag is hoisted at half-mast. The siren announces the moment of the final salute. Under the command of the captain, the body of Sister Maria Carola, held by the ropes that slowly flow through the hands of the sailor, has descended to the water's edge. A slight thud, and the sacred body disappears into the waves of the Red Sea. It is 9:20 a.m. on November the 13th, 1925. An anonymous person writes, "There are women who have always been called to be only for God. The thirst for love of one of these creatures has no respite until it descends into that of the Father." So it was for our sister, Sister Maria Carola, a spiritual daughter of Saint Joseph Benedict Cottolengo. Fiorina, her childhood name, was born in Cittadella, in the province of Padua, on the 3rd of April, 1877. She, who since childhood had learned from her mother to love the Lord and to pray to Him daily, wants to realize God's dream about her, and decides to give herself to Him in order to witness to His love and tenderness with the heart of a sister and a mother, of a faithful servant of the poor, reaching a level of holiness with a demanding but fascinating face, living that high standard of holiness in the daily life of which the unforgettable Saint John Paul II and now Pope Francis speak to us. If you can't be a pine on the top of a hill, be a scrub in the valley, but be the best little scrub by the side of the rail. Be a bush if you can't be a tree. If you can't be a highway, then just be a trail. If you can't be the sun, be a star. But be the best of whatever you are. Not everyone can become sun, tree, highway. There are precious and beautiful, even bush, the scrub, the stars. The important thing is to discover the design that we are called to realize and start with passion, with enthusiasm, to live it. What is important is to carry out in a noble and passionate way one's task, realizing that dream that God has thought for us since we were in our mother's womb. These words describe Sister Maria Carola well. Sister Maria Carola, born Fiorina, rose in naturalness and simplicity. At the age of 6, she starts school. She is punctual and intelligent, always with excellent grades. She never misses school, not even in winter, despite having to walk about 3/4 of an hour away. It costs sacrifice to stay where there is noise and too much distraction. She loves silence and solitude. In her room, she has erected an altar to the Immaculate Mother Mary. In the evening, before resting, she kneels in front of it and prays for a long time. One day, she learns that at the Dorothean Sisters in Cittadella, a course of spiritual exercises for girls will be conducted. She decides to participate, even if every day she has to walk for 2 kilometers, in the morning and in the evening. We do not know what Lord Jesus would have told her in those days, but the sisters who hosted her intuited what was passing in her soul. At the age of 18, with simplicity and determination, she would say to her loved ones, "I want to become a nun." During an interview with the Mother General of the Dorothean Sisters, she is rejected for a cough. She, who enjoyed good health and had never coughed. The Lord wanted her elsewhere. The parish priest, seeing her sad and almost inconsolable, turns to the superior of the little house in Bigolino. At the age of 19, she took the flight, and after several months, on the 27th of August, 1896, with 4 other companions, she arrives at the little house of Divine Providence in Turin. She is the 139th postulant of that year. She took the religious habit and began the novitiate on the 2nd of October 1897 with the name of Sister Maria Carola. On the day of her religious profession, on the 6th of January 1899, she prays as follows: Jesus, may light and warmth emanate from my soul, light in your knowledge, fire warmth for others, whom I will have to love so much as to forget myself. Let my body be consumed like this candle, be annihilated and disappear. After having walked so much and suffered, may there remain no trace of me down here. This prayer comes through in an exceptional way. Obedience demands from her humble services in the seminary kitchen of Javeno and of the little house in Turin. In the kitchen, between pots and stoves, she will take care of God's urges, driven by the light and strength that comes from love. In the kitchen, she is already a missionary, with that good spirit and that availability dictated by the Caritas Christi Ut Nos of the Holy Founder. But her secret dream is to leave, like her other sisters, for Africa. But let's take a step back. The sending on mission of Sister Maria Carola and the Vincenzian sister of Cottolengo is an important piece in the framework of the missionary action of the Italian Church between the 19th and the 20th centuries. In fact, in the 19th century, interest in missionary work is awakened in the Italian Church, alongside the ancient orders and the religious congregation that had always been engaged in the missionary field. No sister was obliged to leave, but only those who asked for it, animated by the desire to bring Jesus to the souls of those who did not yet know him. On March 19, 1904, Sister Maria Carola wrote to Father Ferrero, "I feel the desire to be a missionary increasing in me. I will consider myself lucky if he wants to use me for those poor of Africa, for the spiritual salvation of whom, from this moment, I offer my life." Father Ferrero answers yes, so soon she will depart. On January 26, 1905, 6 sisters leave the little house for Trieste to embark, not to be tourists or social animators, but like holy missionaries to make Jesus Christ known and loved. Mother and Agnes accompanies them. Then it will be sea, sky, and then their destination. She spends 20 years of heroic missionary life in Kenya, in Limuru and in Tutu. In Ichigaki, a new missionary station is set up. The house is a hut. A single frying pan acts as a pot. Little by little, with great effort, the wooden house is erected. Sister Maria Carola, like a good housekeeper, makes it habitable. She cultivates the vegetable garden, embellishes the courtyard, and gathers around her a small community. She always arrives on time to everything. Sister Maria Carola had learned the Kikuyu language very well, and in a short time, among all the sisters, she was best in it, and even understood the strange superstitious customs of the place in a better way. This was enjoyed and appreciated by the African people. Then she departs for Wabongo, Nyeri and Tigania in Meru. Everything she proves to be a wise and prudent woman, active but not dissipated, serious but not rough, frank but not imprudent. She had both a firm and sweet piety, demonstrating the holy freedom of spirit that was all her own. With the same ease, she grabbed the ladle or the rosary. She was ever the same, with the sisters, with the strangers, and with the missionaries, in peaceful days and in the most difficult and pressing tasks. Her mind, always recollected in God, was the powerful spring that made her ready for every undertaking. She often asked God this question: Why, O Jesus, did you call me to be a missionary? Why did you snatch me from the beloved little house? So that I may be holy. Well then, I want to become holy, at whatever cost. Because if I do not become holy, in vain will be my vocation. Who is a saint? A normal person. Sister Maria Carola is a normal woman who tirelessly practiced virtue in her everyday life. In all the days of her 20 years of life in the mission, with good or bad weather, she always went out in search for souls. A straw hat on the head, polished shoes in the feet, laces and leggings up to the knee. Walking stick in hand and forward, she devoured the way with her long steps. She, tall in dark complexion and protruding lips with physical features that make her familiar to the African people, and in particular to the great chief Carola, proud to have the same name as Sister Maria Carola, to whom he gave muttons, red sugars, and rupees. Subsequently, she is sent to Wabungu, where Sister Maria Daria and Sister Rachele had left for the camp's hospital. Sister Maria Carola replaced them in a dramatic moment. Men are recruited for a war between 1915 and 1918, a war of which they did not know the means and strategies. In the villages remained the women who had to look after the domestic animals in the fields. Sister Maria Carola replaced more than once those poor mothers of families who were crying, thinking that their every resource of life was perishing. The Spanish fever then sows death along with the war. There are dead people everywhere in the villages. Sister Maria Carola last mission station is Tigania in Meru, where she once again leaves the house orderly and well stocked. In this last mission, beside the discomforts and fatigue, a painful and debilitating disease diagnosed to be hemorrhagic enterocolitis causes her serious suffering. The effects of this illness did not give her respite until the day of her death. In a letter of March 14, 1919, to the father of the little house, she urges the return of the sick sisters in Italy. She writes, "Now that the sea passages are free, we hope that the sister with health problems will be called in the bosom of the little house to enjoy a bit of paradise." The sister returned to Italy. From 1919 onwards, the superiors of the little house ordered the return of the missionary sisters to Turin. Their mission in the land of Africa was concluded on July 17, 1925. That day, Sister Chiriaca departs. Someone will also have to be the last, and this will be me. Sister Maria Carola sacrifices her desire to return according to her turn to give to the sisters the joy to seeing the little house again as soon as possible. Sister Crescentina and Sister Maria Carola are the last to leave Africa on October 25th, 1925. On her journey back, she suddenly gets worse. There is still much sea to cross, while the hourglass of her earthly life made less rains of sound flow. Her word did not sound as clear as usual. Sister Maria Carola kisses the crucifix that her sister placed on her lips with faith, bows her head gently and breathes her last. The calendar marked the date on the 13th, the clock at 5 a.m. She was not given occasion to enjoy a bit of paradise in the little house at Turin. Her Lord wanted her directly in the true paradise. Jesus, may my body be annihilated after having walked and suffered. May there be no trace of me left down here. It had been her prayer, and it was answered. Volumes will be needed to talk about her zeal. In relation to the people entrusted to her, she felt that she was not a superior but a mother. How much she walked! There was no hut, even the farthest, that was not visited by her several times. She often said, "A good death will repay everything." Sister Maria Carola was the Holocaust immolated on the high seas, as a testimony of the ocean of fatigue and suffering that the Vincentian sister of Cottolengo endured for 23 years in the outposts and moors of his missions, with so much sacrifice and so much industriousness. As a dying grain, Sister Maria Carola was destined to bear unexpected fruits. This is why we remember the dream that God realized in Sister Maria Carola Cecchin. Amazed and in admiration, because we grasp in the simplicity and brevity of her life the presence of a love with a capital L, of a God who built his great history within the little story of Fiorina. Pushed by the Caritas Christi Urget Nos to evangelize those who did not know Jesus, she is a model of missionary life, of holiness and of heroic dedication to Christ and to the souls to be evangelized even today. In 1972, following the invitation of the Second Vatican Council, the Cottolengo sisters returned to Africa among the same people so loved our unforgettable Sister Maria Carola, and the service of this sister extends today even to the neighboring Tanzania. Today, dear Sister Maria Carola, we want to talk about you, because we believe that you have so many things to tell us. You who had the courage of humble daily love, of the faith and of hope unequivocally practiced in a heroic way. Let us therefore allow ourselves to be edified by her and accept the invitation to accept the dream that God has for each one of us, without giving up in the face of difficulties, inconveniences, any disappointment and misunderstandings. Always fighting for what you believe, with words and gestures of love, certain that God is with us and fills us with His love, enabling us to contribute to the proclamation of the kingdom, to incarnate love in the history of the Church. As Pope Francis reminds us, is love story only of love.